If, let's say, you were to write a story with me as the main character, it would certainly be a tragedy. No, everyone's the same, in fact. He's the main character of his novel, and she's the main character of a movie. All those that walk this earth are the main characters of their own tragedies. Yes, that's definitely one way to describe it. That is definitely one way to describe this very series that is Tokyo Ghoul. And hold up, cut the music real quick. LuckyRave, yes, I'm here. I know after such a long time, comes back long after the series is ended, and the last podcast was back in, say, June, May, no, April. Why so late? Why so late? Life. Not exactly the best thing in the world. Life just has a funny way of just catching up on you, and then juggles. It just juggles with a lot of things that happens. But I did tell myself that before the year ended, I would do this. I would do this final podcast for Tokyo Ghoul, not only just for you guys, but because I can't leave the podcast series hanging. I mean, we've been doing this for a good year now, almost year and a half. So, of course, I was gonna, tie it up in a nice little bow as best as I can. And just like all my other Tokyo Ghoul podcasts and the other podcasts I've done as of recently, I've got a special friend / special guest with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings, everyone. It's me, Sparda3g, back for another podcast. A very, very, very late one, but there is an anime and a movie coming out. There's that. So you can say that's our reasons for us to come back. Oh, but for the manga readers, we do have the Zaki 2 coming out, which that should be really cool. And who knows, maybe there'll be something else more in the horizon. But for the time being, we're just going to talk about the end of Tokyo Ghoul Ray.
Definitely. And I do understand that we have kind of missed out quite a lot from where we last left off. And while we could break down from where we left off all the way to the ending, we could do that. That would take too long. Let's be fair.
That
would take way too long. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to save the final 2 chapters, and those are the 2 that we're going to really break down. So what the format's going to be right now is me and Sparta are going to be kind of more or less talking about the final 3 battles that took place. Specifically, Yomo versus Uta, Donato versus Amon, and last but not least, Kaneki versus Florida. So, Sparta, what do you think of the finale of... Well, yeah, let's start with that. So, the finale of Yomo versus Uta.
Finale of Yomo versus Uta. So you just want me to talk about the battle, or you want me to talk about just the ending of that battle itself, like including the conclusion, how they come together?
Just the conclusion, because I know we kind of we were touching on that part.
Well, it depends. Right. It depends on your end. If you really, really, really was banking on Uta to be the mysterious one-eyed king, the first original one, well, you're not gonna get that here. Well,
no,
I mean that's the idea. That's the idea. Some people be like, oh, I actually really thought he was it. Huh. That's disappointing. But if you really just think of him as a solo character, this is actually a fitting way to end for his character, especially be defeated by his own best friend. The only friend he could really say that is actually a friend. because everyone knows while they are a friend, they're not really someone that he was closely attached to. It has been said for past chapters, it has been said many times beforehand, and including the Omaki one. So in this case, makes sense for him to be defeated by his own best friend and be converted or give it another chance to see the different way, because Yomo went through the exact same hell in a different way, but it still went to the similar direction. For example, the whole attack. For example, he started off with like a family with his sister, then his sister, then I guess you could say his brother-in-law, and then it goes downhill from there. His sister dies, then his brother-in-law died because of him pressuring him hard, heavily about the whole losing his sister. Then Oteku goes downhill. Then he has to protect his niece and nephew, which he never really said to them, and he almost lost them. He almost lost his own life. A lot of things goes on, so it's pretty much like Uta, but without going one and done. Because with Uta, his pretty much his family went out went out with a whimper in a matter of a day by Artima, if I recall correctly. So that was like, oh damn, it happened so sudden. So for him, his transformation happens on the whim. With Yomo, it was trying to transform him into a different person, but he was not gonna let that be because he has other people that actually supports him. Again, Yoshimoru, then Kaneki himself. There's always a second chance for it that he keeps seeing. So he wanted to pass that around to Uta, and it makes sense for him. It makes sense with the best friend to do the changing around things. So it was a fitting end, and then the whole quoting, the one that we all know of from part one, it all ties into this moment, and it was kind of pretty amusing to see how they started chatting. But just for the record, I always bank on Kaneki would be the one with Touka. Oh, really? That was pretty funny. But
That was
that whole
nice.
thing,
I will definitely say that. That
yeah,
was
that it was nice because like it fits in with the whole back in the very beginning where he was like, "Hey, Kaneki, what do you see in Touka right now?" It makes sense because you could kind of get the idea. It's like, yeah, I'm always a shipper since day one. I always see it going to happen, and it does happen. So called it. It was amusing, but yeah, it makes sense. Again, if you was really banking on him to be the one-eyed king, you're gonna be disappointed. But that's because you was very invested with the theory, and I don't blame you with that theory. But if you see him as a solo character, and after the series has ended, going retracking everything, it makes sense that the character ends up being the character he is, Uta, that is. So yeah, I thought it was justified.
honestly, it really is great to see like exactly how the fight was able to end off, and just how Uta and Yomo were able to patch things up. Like, take the Naruto versus Sasuke concept and then put it here, but it's done much better here with these two. The best way I can kind of explain it.
Well, it's like you said. It's like we said. It's pretty much subtle in a rightful manner. Again, if you're just that kind of person that's just really on a theory, which again, I don't blame you. But if you retrack it and see it differently, it actually makes sense, a lot of sense, how this come to an end for him. I mean,
Yeah.
at least he didn't kill him off. I thought
No,
he was gonna die from that, but I was like, we've seen ghouls surviving from this kind of fall for many times. So, what makes you think this is a different story right now?
you're right. Yeah, and Ishida, oh my god, like anytime Yomo's in a fight, like even with Yomo's final fight, like it's like it looks like Yomo's gonna die. Like it's happened several times, and I kind of got to a point, like even now, I'm like, why, why do you do this to us? You bring the tension that Yomo's gonna die, but he doesn't really die. I mean, I'm not complaining about that, but it's just like looking at it in retrospect, I'm like, you like messing with Yomo a lot, from what I've noticed.
That's true.
I mean, take it as a positive or negative, but it's a pattern.
I mean, Yomo was like got his ass handed to by Arima, but that is Arima. And then after that, yeah, he was on the winning streak. I mean, the guy beat Muski with lightning a sneak attack, which was pretty damn cool. Then he break this guy's neck, which is badass. He's
I
like,
know.
man, shut up. And then he fought Uta. You know, yeah, it was like three strings of battles. So yeah.
The pre-Reformation Mootski days. I remember that. I remember that pretty well.
Yeah. Yes, I'm pretty sure the anime knows it so well how that works now. Ah,
Oh
God.
man, that's crazy. Looking back on that now, it's like all that hate. Now I'm just like, hey, cool.
Yeah, I've seen, I've seen the anime, but how? Like all I know, I was told that crazy psychopath version of Muski happens, and I'm wondering myself, but didn't they skip the entire story that transformed her in the first place?
That's what I was gonna
So,
say. Yeah, because they
so,
did kind of gloss over that. I'm like, wow.
so we just have to believe that she just went crazy just cause, right?
Yeah,
Is that what the story that's telling us right now? Because
I'm gonna
that
assume
makes it
that's what
harder
it
for
is.
sympathy. Because of that makes it very hard to sympathize with her at all. You
I
know,
know.
I mean, in the manga, it gave us reasons. It was a little struggle because damn, she was really being cold blooded and all that stuff. She was being a douchebag. Well, even though that was just a ploy with the whole Toka's best friend. We're like, oh look at I got her hand. That was just a ploy. But if it was for real, then damn, unforgiving.
Right?
But yeah, but like with the anime again, it's like you skip that big aspect that really give us the reason why she transformed this much. And I don't know how the recent anime episode I don't know what exactly it shows, but all I heard it was like, oh yeah, the preview shows that the psychopath Buski does happen. Only question I'm leaving now is like, how exactly? So yeah, how exactly? I don't know. The anime
Glorious
people,
flashbacks, Naruto style.
the anime watchers are really gonna be confused as hell, and then be like, "Well, the manga really tells you everything." I mean, I know that's something you hear a lot of things for a lot of series, but this one, I think this is very justified.
Madhouse. If
Oh boy.
somehow someday in the near future, please get the anime rights. That's the only thing I want to say. Please.
Oh god.
The guy can dream. The guy can definitely dream.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if Hunter x Hunter can get that treatment, anything's possible.
Seriously. Hunter x Hunter happened. Why we cannot dream for this to happen?
Right?
It's not like a property that's just like a throwaway property. I'm 100% certain it's popular as hell. So what makes you think they're gonna be like, it's just another series like one of those, the non-popular series like, oh, 200, under 200 volumes sold series, whatever. Nothing to worry about. We're not gonna care so much. So who cares, right? But I'm pretty sure it can happen. I mean, recently we just learned about Fruit Basket getting his own remake. It's like, oh snap,
That's
it's getting a
true.
remake.
Yeah, it is getting a
It-
remake.
It's it's getting a remake. Why? Because the first series didn't end it. And now, so we're going to get a remake, and we're going to get a conclusion. It would make sense if it's like it would make sense for to brush off if it was like, oh, an anime for the sequel. All right, cool. But this is a remake of an original established series that's already ended for a far too long. I think 10 years ago. I don't even know, but it's getting a sequel. Why is getting? Excuse me, it's getting a remake in anime. So why is not far fetched to think, oh, it's gonna get a remake for Tokyo Ghoul? The only question is now is how long it would it take? I don't know when. I don't know how long, but it's just the chances is up there. I can't say the chance is 100%. I can't say the chance is 80%, but I can say the chance is up there. It's not far fetched to believe otherwise.
Can I see it happening in the next 5 years? Probably not. I'd go say maybe the next 7 or 8. I'd give it that much time
Yeah,
before we get a remake.
yeah.
And I know it's like 8 years. That's too long. It's like actually 8 years can go by pretty quickly.
I mean, granted, I don't want that to go fast for my benefit. I don't want to get old, damn it.
Same. I want to be like, let it slow. Like take its time. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess the problem, I guess the real main problem with the whole fact that this anime is around exists is the mere fact that they actually concluding the series, even if it's not, the exact same as the manga. The fact they still try to have the courtesy to conclude the series is actually agonizing as hell. It's like, maybe you should just end it at Route A and just give us a chance to believe that another studio like Madhouse, Bones, whatever, just will actually pick it up and just like and actually conclude the series, or more like remake the series, because Rude was so different. But instead, Studio Parrot managed to not only switch the studio within the house, which is pretty much even worse than I expected. I saw the writings on the wall back with this other anime that my girlfriend despised so hard, because the original art was really pretty according to her, but the art that the Studio Perry has presented is really rubbish. That's a writing on the wall. So when they actually announced they're gonna make an anime out of it, I'm like, oh why? Oh god, why? it it doesn't help that the art style is even more different from the first one. I mean, I didn't mind the art style from the first one even. It's like, yeah, it's different from the manga, but it's not bad. It's just different.
It is.
The art style we have, yeah, but the art style we have now seems very odd, really odd. Like everybody seems very either pale or something. I don't know. It's like everybody seems like they're just need food or something. What's
And
going
they had
on?
to retcon the
Why
ending
they?
of Rude because of Hide.
Yeah, which is even weirder, because according to some people, they said they actually use a Rude cutscene. Well, excuse me, cutscene flashback scene. Yeah, they actually use Rude flashback in the latest episode. That's confusing as hell. It's like, wait a minute. So is it this canon, non-canon? Tell me. I'm lost, sir. Please, sir. Can you tell me what's the right direction I'm looking at? Yeah.
My God.
It's a mess. I think we should get back into the
I
subject,
know.
though.
I mean, we could do an
Oh
entire
god.
podcast on the anime, which who knows? We probably might later on.
We would just ran on forever. We would just ran on forever and just say how shitty it is. And it's your fault that you wanted the anime back. Well, okay, I won't go that far. But still, the fact that we actually begged for an anime to resume, like season 3 when, I'm like, no season 3. We want reboot. 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 Don't ask for season 3. Stop asking for season 3. I don't care if you had to go through another phase where every Marvel DC movie has to do origin stories again, because we rebooted twice. Origin story. I don't care. I want a perfect story. I don't care how many it takes. I just want a real adaptation. I don't care you have to see Ogiri arc 5,000 times. I want a good adaptation.
Honestly,
Sheesh.
Agiri could have been like season 5 if Toga was adapted properly. If
Keyword is if. Keyword.
again, a guy can dream. Who knows how long the dream can last before it becomes a reality? It's a disappointing thing about Tokyo Ghoul. It's just the anime, but
Yeah. Welcome to Berserk fandom. Berserk had to settle with 3D. 3D in a very sluggish way, and a lot of scenes getting cut off. Which
no,
is kind of
good
strange.
thing we got the Golden Age arc movies.
Yeah. At least the movies are swell, in my opinion. I mean, it's not the best, but it's good enough,
Mhm.
But now we just need a real deal whenever that ever happened.
Yeah.
Whenever that would happen. Oh, whenever that would happen.
But yeah, Yomo versus Uta, great, amazing conclusion. I don't think there's a lot more I can say on that. I mean, I do also like. I mean, Ittori didn't do a lot per se in that fight, but I do like what she kind of represents for both those characters. That to me was pretty cool. Now, Amon versus Donato, though, father versus son. Whoo! Wow, big step for Amon. Big step.
Yeah.
Where do I begin with
The
that?
funny thing, well, if you want to start, you can go right ahead.
If you had something you wanted to say, go ahead.
I'll start by saying that, it's funny how we all imagine that Takizawa will interfere the match. But in hindsight, it's like, if he interfered the match, I guess that means Alman won't get any really justified ending for himself because he's getting some help. And the funny part is they actually mentioned that in the in the manga, which Taki's always like, if I step in and I actually help him and beat him, that pretty much says like, I kind of solved the problem, sort of, maybe not really. It's like that is true because if he does solve the
It was kind
problem,
of really something Amon had to really tackle on his own.
right? If anyone helps him out and everyone does the kill for themselves, then it's like okay, what Alma has learned, squat. So yeah, they actually acknowledged that, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So now I actually want Alma to win because if I have someone else to do the helping, it's like kind of hard to say this is a good right call. So yeah, but it was one of the fight that we was waiting for ever since the beginning of the origin story of Alma was established. Ever since it was shown us he was like how he was treated like a son, how Donato was like a father to him until that fateful day that was just like very disturbing as hell. And it goes all the way to this moment. And I thought I really enjoyed the last chapter of the battle because of the whole story they were telling, especially from Alma's side, how much it seems like everything feels like a contradiction on his end, which has been the case. But yeah, the whole battle between these two was just really damn good and captivating. I really like how like Alma does a unique twist. I don't mean that literally, even though there is a pun to it, so no pun intended.
I know.
But it was a neat it was a neat twist to use his Quinque and his Kagane at the same time to make the piercing attack even more devastating. I was like, oh, that was pretty damn clever. Cool.
It was, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, and I really like the whole cross being a really symbol of everything. And it makes sense, like, why we have the cross after all this time if it represents the days of him being an orphan with Donato as his father figure? Why would he have that? That's because Alma is one contradicting guy since the beginning. He has been, it's not his fault. It's just a lot of people will be
It's
like
just
that.
kind of been a part of his staple, yeah, is one word you can use, but it's just been something that's been a part of his character since the beginning.
Right. It made him him. And, finding his own father figure, this is the moment that will finally conclude his character. The only question is, does he want to do that? And, he says everything that sounds like a big yes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kill him when I find him. When I fight him. When I see the guy, I'm going to destroy him. But it's the same case of easier said than done because all of a sudden, now he's fighting him. Aren't you gonna kill him? Aren't you gonna defeat him? What are you doing? Why are you slacking? Why you're like not really going all the way? Because he's really fighting he's at the moment like if I beat him, if I kill him, everything changes. Purpose of life disappear, his hatred disappear. What not to do after this one? So this is the big step. This is a huge step that he has to take. And then he finally gets to that point. He gets to the acknowledgement that he has been hypocrite in many ways, but that's because that's his feeling putting over the objective, and now he's finally letting that go, and he's finally finally establishing like the real priorities on what to do and what makes it and what makes it like I'm trying to find the right word. Basically what I'm saying is like he has to put the right priority. He has to do the right thing, and he does so by taking out Donato. And Donato, he was like happy to
Like
see.
making the best
He was
decision.
like, yeah, making the best decision, the right decision. And Donato is like reacts like he sees a son growing up as a fine gentleman, and with that smile, and then he gets killed off. But before he dies, well, he completely dies. This guy gives him Nico gives him a little chance to have one last talk with Alma, and that's where Alma finally lets out that he always hated him because of that day and stuff like that. Even so, after all the tragic moments between them, he still feels connected with Donato. And then he wonders if it's wrong for him to feel sympathy for a killer, for a murderer, for a pedophile, or anything about him. Anything that should be very nasty, everything that should be unforgiving. And he's still unforgiving, but he can't help but feel sympathy, can't help but feel teary about Donato. It's because how they connected, where they're born, where they started off from. So they always has been attached together. And it's like Donato is a character that's like he just go with the wind. He go with this go with the flow. But with this whole, even at the very end of his death, it's like he created a perfect story. Pretty much have the son go after the father figure, go after him for the kill. It's like a perfect story, tragic story, like something you see out of Shakespeare. So it's like at the very end, he's crying. Makes you wonder, like, is he crying because he actually did really care about Amon, or is he crying because he had the perfect story told as he wanted to have? So he just laugh it off as he cries away, and then he just really die. So I just leave off on that tangent. But yeah, it was a really damn good way to end the story. I mean, of course, it's tragic because Amon did care about this guy even throughout the whole disaster between them. But still,
Yeah, like
those
even when
attachment is
Donato was
really
like in
hard.
prison and stuff too.
Right. But those attachment is really hard to ignore because that's where your starting ground come from. That's where your character is established. That's hard to ignore those moments. So I don't blame Alma for crying for a man. I mean, again, it could have been worst case scenario. Could have been like, what you laughing at, Nico? You be laughing at him because he died? Well, guess what? Even though he done so many things, he was the coolest guy ever. It's not like that. So if it was something like that, well, that's a different story. That's just awkward writing on the wall. But it didn't go that way. It just go personal
No,
level.
it didn't.
That's how it should have been kept, and that's it. That's all I got. It was a really emotional battle in its own rights.
I don't really have much to add on because I feel like you've pretty much said everything I wanted to bring up about the Amon versus Donato fight. Though I could add in and say this is kind of like the final character push that Amon really needed. Like, yeah, we've seen him develop throughout the course of the series. I do feel like with Donato, it was kind of like the one thing that's been holding him back for like a really long time, and it was really something he has to really come to terms with, even if it does kind of kill him on the inside. And just how he's able to go through that struggle in the fight, and now he's able to overcome it. Like it, I mean, I remember reading those chapters and just thinking to myself like that was pretty deep. It was really really deep, and it also kind of also just shows, yeah, Takizawa not coming into the fray. It makes a lot of sense, and had he had shown up, it would have showed that, okay, yeah, Amon still needs support. Really, it was he had to deal with this on his own. That's me. Was my big takeaway with the fight, and yeah, there was like a lot of emotional punches to it. There was like, again, it's kind of similar to what you said, Sparta. You know, yeah, you might hold some resentment towards somebody that after everything that happened, but even then, even at like a very low critical point, you still care for them.
Mhm.
that alone shows that when it comes to pulling the final trigger, it can be tough. It can
Yeah.
definitely be tough. And that's just honestly all I gotta say about Amon versus Donato. That one of the best fights. If we had the rank fights, wow, that would probably take a while to do, but it's one of the best. Which brings us over to Kaneki versus Borita.
You want me to start?
I'm just thinking like this was it, without us even realizing it.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty badass. I really liked the very first chapter of the battle because it felt like it's everything thrown in there. And I did like how Kaneki had to use many different mix of fighting style, including back in the CCG days, Sasuke days. So I was like, oh, that's so awesome. He took out the sword. Like my head was like just hearing, my head is just thinking like some Metal Gear Rising theme song playing in the background, like, oh, this thing is badass because it's like Furuta versus Kaneki. And let's not forget how beforehand it was pretty damn cool. I was like, okay, Kaneki just crack his knuckle, like bringing back the old days, like, oh shit, this is going down, it's going down right now. And I just like that whole, all right, it looks like you're still alive, Kaneki. I'm actually surprised about that. And then and then for the time gas mask was taken out by the Kagane by surprise. It was like, what the hell? Oh crap. Wait a minute. Hold up. Time out. Don't you want to hear
What's
why I
happening?
did this? Yeah, why don't you want to hear why I did this? Why I just attack you? Why I plan all of this? You don't you want to know my motivation? And he's like, don't care. It's
Like, yeah,
like,
I
oh
don't
shit.
even give a
Okay.
fuck what's going on right now.
He's like, don't care. I'm like, oh crap. And it was just funny because he's narrating his own life, his own battles. Like, and then this guy does his dash, escaping from the inevitable. Huh. Feels
Dude,
like
that
I
was
got
so
deja vu.
funny.
It was like the closest way to going to breaking the fourth wall without breaking the fourth wall.
Right?
I guess, I feel this is like deja vu. So that was just hilarious. But yeah, after that, the whole fight each other. It was just pretty damn freaking good. Now, of course, I can't count on anime to fulfill this fulfill this dream because Studio Farian.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They couldn't even do it justice with Artie versus Kaneki. What makes you think they would do justice with Kaneki and Furuta?
Good point.
I got no.
That's
I
a
have
that's
zero
a
hope
very
for
good
it.
point.
I got zero hope for it. That's not a good thing at all. Damn it. That should not be the case at all.
No, it shouldn't.
But yeah, back to the battle. Yeah, it's like everything going through in. I had one of the coolest shot of Kaneki dodge the sword. I was like, holy shit, that was crazy. And he's like, he has officially graduated to the badassery. You got guts, you got Gintoki. I think there's one more character. I forgot who. The characters that managed to bite down the sword and survive with bone chilling appearance of their expressions. Like, damn, look at those badassery.
I
God.
was gonna say Yusuke from
So
Yu Hakusho, but I don't know that one
did
counts.
he take? Did he? I'm trying to remember that scene. Did he really like take a bite of the sword or anything resembling to a knife?
I don't remember specifically, but he did go through some crazy shit from what I remember. Like,
Oh yeah,
in-
yeah. He definitely went through crazy shit. I'm just trying to trying to remember if he has that moment. But either way,
yeah,
yeah, that was just awesome. A lot of cool stuff happens. Again, would love to see it animated, but even when it does, God. Unless they say, hey, look, this is the only time we actually get an in-house studio animation. I'm like, yay, hopefully. Something
cool.
like the rare, something like a out of rare moment, like how Boruto got that episode pretty much from the movie, but they remake entirely into something that's actually surpassed the movie version, which is actually a kind of neat accomplishment. But anyway, something like that for Furuta versus Kaneki. It's already too late for Arima, so. But yeah, the second chapter, that's where Kaneki went all out, going against Furuta, which Furuta later exchanged to go all out on him. But the second chapter was very interesting because how it becomes more emotional engaging rather than just seeing them kicking ass in a badass way. But now it just became more emotional engaging, especially Furuta. Furuta was like showing, he was spouting out everything that he has been struggling, spouting out his character. Then Kaneki had the nerve to pretty much, well, I can't really say he had the nerve, but to him, he saw like like a
He
big
got to take
taunt
the initiative.
for, yeah, exactly. Like he sees like, why you take a sip of it on me? Are you seriously taking a sip of it on me? It was like, are you trying to are you trying, what are you trying to do? Or, why are you mocking me? You know? And then it gets crazier when he went to Kagaja, and then like it's just like he's just manhandling Kaneki from the ground, from the, like he's just pounding him from the on the while he was on the floor. But with just that one tiny opening, kind of like Guilty Gear gameplay, like, oh look, it does, you're doing combo. But then when you see the number shows like, oh, it becomes blue, or I think it's red, indicating that like, there you go, that's your chance to for an opening. But you messed it up. So in that case, there was just that one tiny opening, and Kaneki takes that and bam, kills him. One strike. It was just crazy. But that one, but the what really captivated me is that before that one strike happened, it's like he has that vision, what should have been, what could have been for Furuta with Rize. Could have been a family, because that's what tells you the character in a nutshell. He wanted a family. He wanted a normal life, and it sucks, but it's just the way he is. It's just the way how his path was determined since the first chapter of the battle, where the guy's saying like, "Wow, this guy is really strong. He's really good. He could be like Arima, if not even better, maybe." Too bad that his life is already pretty much predetermined, so there's nowhere to go from there. You know, he has a ceiling. It's already been placed. But seeing his character, seeing how he's vent out his frustration and everything about it in that second chapter of the battle, and then you should see that one strike, and then right before he see a vision of what could have been his life instead of the way he ended up taking on, and then you got the whole
It kind of really
great
makes you feel
characterization.
for like his character.
Yeah, that's a hell of hell of accomplishment to even think about. Like, wow, you actually made me feel sympathy for this
For
guy.
Furuta.
This guy has
After
been
all the
yeah,
shit
for
that he did.
Furuta. He went through, he made a lot of shit like a living hell, and then for that to tell me I feel something sorry for him is like, wow, all right, shit, I did feel sorry. I mean, then again, this is the same writer that made me feel a bit sorry for Kanu. And then it sucks that he actually killed himself just to say, aha, you ain't getting that kill, which messed up, but yeah, that's shit happens. But yeah, it was like, it was just pretty damn shocking.
It honestly was. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see that
But
coming.
seriously, but with Kaneki, but with Kaneki and Furuta, that chapter was really significant for many reasons. One is that it finally tells us that Kaneki has evolved a lot, and he no longer sees it differently. Well, the next chapter, that's where you really get the idea he doesn't see it differently about the whole. If you're gonna make a tragic storyline, you know, if you're gonna make him as the protagonist, it will be a tragic story. But before going to that moment, it was, you know, his view finally started to change, especially with the world used to be shitty. The world is awful or stuff like that. But now he sees it so differently. And Furuta still sees the same thing, but that's his character. That's just how he is. One of the part that really makes it so sad is that when Furuta asks him one last question about him, like, is it weird if I were to dream something so normal? And it's very ironic because he hold his chin just as similar as Kaneki does when he's hiding something. So it begs the question: does he
That's a
was
pretty
that
good point,
intentional?
actually.
Yeah, it's definitely intentional. But what is trying to tell us? Is it telling us like, does he really feels that that's a sad thing, or does he really feels that it's a good thing? Like, what is the mindset Furuta saying when he said that? But it makes it very sad because you know his life could have been much different if he went to the if he would have grew up in a different path, if it would have been different, if we were to not have that ceiling per se. And then you got the last flashback, the one last flashback where he's in there, which is pretty much saying like his life is already coming to an end. And hell, even that double page with it's just a line is actually feel very powerful because yeah, he died, but it's just the way how it's just the way how the character was evolving, and it got me to care about him again. I feel sympathy for a villain. How the hell that happened? So, yeah, that was the case. And overall, the battle itself was awesome. It was hell of a battle. I unfortunately the anime will not do it justice.
It
So,
probably
case in
won't,
point,
which is
so the
unfortunate.
lesson learned for so the lesson learned for the anime wise, the best fight will end up being Naki versus Kaneki, which is not even a fight.
No, it isn't.
I mean, it's not even a fight. That would be the best fight. That or Hariwu versus Masame, but still.
Yeah, there's
But
that
yeah,
too.
well, yeah, that too, because they actually put animation work in that fight. I don't know why. Well, I actually do know why, but still, yeah. In the case, that's the moral of the story, everyone. If you're very important, you won't get a good treatment. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would be a hell of a fight, a hell of animation, everything. I don't know. I doubt it, but we'll see.
We will definitely see on that. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that Ishida made me feel for Forta. That still blows my mind. But then again, we are talking about Ishida. Fight itself, what more needs to be said? What more needs to be said on Kaneki versus Forta? Other than like Amon versus Donato, it was great. It was amazing. It was nice seeing what Kaneki was able to do. Flashback that we got for Forta, the fact that it made me feel for Forta after all the shit that he was able to do, and I'm just like, and ultimately Forta's defeat, how it played out. What more do you need to say than that? Honestly, like these last three fights, which is crazy to think about because at the time when reading it, you could have easily said, yeah, it's the end of part two. You could say, yeah, these fights are the end of part two. That's really not the case now. That is really not the case because the series is ended now. And to delve into that, we're gonna dive into the last two chapters of the manga, starting with 178, because this is kind of where it all begins. The name of this beautiful poison hasn't yet. Dot dot dot. Chapter 178, White and Rabbit. To which we see Kaneki reaching up to the top and looking at Rize, who is who's kind of like unconscious, say the very least. And Kaneki like just looking in all directions, and he's seeing kind of like a tremor going on with the dragon itself.
You
And
want me to start from there? Oh, okay.
no, I'm just still kind of going through like the chapter and just saying like kind of like
Okay.
how like how it's sprouting and Kimi saying Kaneki, and then the V organization members that we've been hyping up about get decapitated. One kind of loses his head in like three pieces, like a slice of cake. That's an analogy we want to use here. Yes, that.
Supposedly I forgot it was like I wouldn't say a reference, but it was like a what comes around goes around scenario, but I forgot
Yeah.
now. But go on.
And the final words is dragon, our world, and Hero goes there like, what? And of course, Eto's there. Yeah, so Eto, at least as far as this chapter goes, is alive and middle finger. Literally.
Literally.
Yeah, like she flicked everyone off and said, fuck y'all. All of y'all. He's like, I may have been controlled, but no longer. And yeah. So she's on the ground, just smiling, eyes closed. Yomo's there. with the Devil Ape himself. So, yeah, Koma and the Black Dog. So,
Were they alive?
well, the fact that Yomo's actually there, and Komo's like, it's a pain, isn't it, Yomo? And he's like, look, rest, Koma. So, yes, that's a thing. And Naki's alive.
We should have took that word literally. The whole falling asleep. He's just sleeping. We should have took that literally. We took it too metaphorically speaking.
We thought Naki had we thought he had a send off, and I was just like, I'm like, damn, Ishida, I felt something, and you
Like, why you
brought
gotta
it
kill
back.
me?
I'm like, there I was kind of sad about Naki. I'm like, he got a good send off. Comes back, and then he comes back, and it's like, didn't he get a send off like before?
It's because you look at one way, not the other way. We should have looked at seriously way. The serious route was, I mean, like, hey, she was being serious. She wasn't being Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, do not wake him up. He's dead tired. It's not like that. She really meant it. Don't wake him up. He's sleeping. You know. I'm like, all right, cool. Instead, we all took it as a metaphor, like, damn, that's very sad. So, oops, I guess.
It's like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that happened, guys. He was dead tired.
How did you feel just knowing Naki is actually alive?
I mean, like, look, if it was 100% confirmed dead and then he just come back out of nowhere, I would have been like, huh, okay, what the hell? I mean, in this case, it's like, oh, I guess I should have took that serious, which the way how she said it.
Yeah.
Whatever then. I mean, like, granted, like honestly, the only downside is the send off was really, really, really was damn good. You
It
know,
was.
it was a great send off. So him coming back is like, well, I guess the downside is the send off was gone. But hey, at least he's back, so that's fine, I guess. But yeah, again, the only sacrifice is the send off was really too good. It was too good. Maybe if the send off was like weak, whatever, it was like, all right, if he comes back alive, that's cool. But the send off was just too good, so I was like, damn, oh well.
Would you say it's kind of like with what Kakashi got during the Pain arc?
Yeah, you can say like that. That's a good way to put it. It's like with Kakashi, that send off was really good. It was so sad. He meet his father, and they're gonna have a good long chat for the rest of their life. It's like, damn, that's a sad way to end, but it's just it is what it is, guys. And then he comes back. It's like, oh, all right, that's not too bad. But then everybody comes back alive as well. Like, okay, that's a little bit too much now.
I know.
Everyone's back alive. Every single one that he just finished killing off is back alive. Come on.
I know, like, if that happened
Mhm.
in Tokyo Ghoul with like everyone, I would have been like, so okay, thanks, Ishida.
It's like, oh, wait a minute, look what Dragon's doing. He's reviving everybody. Even Arnie, he was already 6 feet under, but he's alive. Shiratsu's alive now. Oh my goodness. Even better. Even Hinami's mother's alive.
Oh no.
Then that's just too much. Then that's something we cannot ignore. And that's just asinine.
Then you and I would have probably been like, Ishida's writing capabilities now. Scary.
It's like, maybe he should really end this right now before it gets worse.
Yeah.
So, whoa. In his defense, it did end it. So, so yeah, you can say stop where it needed to stop.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that happened. I mean, again, the only part that bothered me is that damn, that was a really great send off, and we just have to sacrifice it for that.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing too much. Just nothing like really got me agitated. Like, oh, why did you
No,
do that?
yeah, nothing
I
like
hate
that.
reviving. Again, if it was 100%, 100%, if it 100% confirmed death, as in like this guy from Fairy Tale, or pretty much a lot of characters from Fairy Tale, which actually confirmed dead. If they were dead, if they stayed dead, and then all of a sudden they come back to life, then that is problem. But instead, we just took the words wrongfully because we took it as a metaphor more so than a literal sense of sleeping. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of in a joking manner. It's in a joking manner. It's like in Gintama. Oh, what you do? What you do? What you do? What did you do to them? Oh, they are. I forgot how it goes. I think it's something like they're in the garden right now. It's like, oh my god, that means they just die. It's like the garden. It's like the garden full of red garden. It's like, oh shit, that means this girl really killed them. And then later on, you find out it's like, oh yeah, these guys are finally back because they've been doing the red garden. They've been picking up flowers in the red garden. It's like, you mean that literal? Like it's like that. It's like, oh, you thought because you meant like a metaphorically speaking, saying like she has killed them and all of them in the garden is nothing but blood. It's filled with blood. But she really meant that. It's like, oh, oops. So pretty much that's the sense of Naki. You thought he died because of the way how his send off, which was convincing. I give you that. That's why I was convinced too. The send off was very convincing that he has died. And then you have, the whole saying he's sleeping, he's dead tired. Well, he didn't say that. She didn't say that. It would have been hilarious if she did say that. Then it would be like,
I know.
she was dead tired. Then I would have been like, okay, what?
I would have been like, questions.
He's dead, right? So coming back to life again. The real shame is the send off was decline. That's the real shame on if anything.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, like it's cool to have Naki back, but that send off, it's too strong.
Yeah. And I get and it does for a lot of people. Maybe a lot of people didn't realize how he came back to awake himself, all healed up. His arm was missing, so it does suggest he did the exact same tactic as what's his name? Shu. He did the exact same tactic as Shu. Yeah, screw you up. Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah. But yeah, they're there. They're just Urie's there, which hey, we praise Urie a lot because this guy was a piece of shit in the beginning. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate that, but
yes, the greater redemption story, which was not capitalized well in the anime, but oh well.
No.
The anime, they go straight to the point very, very fast without any grounds. So it makes it harder to realize why he's such a impressive character as a development concerns. But yeah.
He's like, yeah, save the pursuit squads, all personnel shall cease battle activity. And then we got Amon, we got Taki's out. Is that Korn or is it somebody else? I'm blanking on the other person that's there with them.
Which one?
The person that's to the right of Amon.
Oh, it's Tomoe.
Tomoe, there we go, yes.
Yeah, the sister, the only survivor of the family that Amon has killed. The grave robber. That's what she's known for. But or Little Bin, if you want to go with that one. But yeah, she was the only survivor in the family. The Bin brothers. Not blood related, but they were like pretty much like, like orphan family sense. Basically like brother figures, I guess that's the best way you can say it. But still, Amon killed them. And he took a grudge on that. So yeah.
He really did. Awkward, but cool.
Well, let bygone be bygone, as they say.
Yep. You got the Suzuya squad, you got Hide, and then we got back to Kaneki. Talking Ayato. Rushing back, getting engulfed, but still pulling through. Still pulling through. Of course, seeing, Kaneki, I've always looked to you. And then we see Touka just looking out into the skies with.
I'm forgetting names.
I
Psycho.
Psycho, yes, Psycho. I cannot
I
believe
was
that
like,
just happened. I was
did
just about
you
to
even
say
get a name?
no.
How could you?
It's funny because no. The funny thing is, I knew who it was. I was just about to say it, and then it just blanked. I'm like, that was
It's like, yes, I'm just laying down here, dying, and all that stuff, not knowing who my name is. Entered the anime. Actually, I didn't see that episode, so I don't know how the anime did her justice.
But yeah,
Did they
like
do her justice?
Psycho's there, just in bed. Mamon's wife.
Yes.
I am scared. It's like, are you scared of waiting too? And of course, Touka holding Psycho's hand, saying, "Yes, I am scared. So Psycho, will you wait with me?" And she says, "Okay." And thus we see a butterfly just flying through the skies. And I'll say this: the transition from this chapter to 179 was kind of strange.
You said transition?
Yeah, because it just felt kind of weird, initially until because I remember before we did this podcast, you kind of explained it to me, and it actually makes a lot of sense. But I remember at the time I was reading the chapter, going from 178 to 179. I'm just like, that felt. I'm like, did I miss something? Because I feel like I got bleached.
He said, I feel like I got bleached.
If you know, if you remember what happened with the bleach ending from like the end of the fight to the time skip. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's kind of sense you could say. Yeah, I know what you mean now. I mean, you could look at that way. Yeah, it's like, huh? But if you look at the volume version, it makes it more significant. It makes it more it's better in the volume version because it does seems like a good way to transition to the time skip.
Yeah,
Bleach just happens. It's like, oh, I got slash and time skip.
yeah, it just happens. Like, really?
Yeah, like with Tokyo Ghoul, it makes more sense in the volume version. Maybe in a weekly basis, you probably leave a little confused. But the volume version, again, in the volume version, they have the butterfly keep flying to the double page, and then another double page, or not another double page. I think it's another page, and then it goes to the scene of 6 years later, and he is the one to see that butterfly or something like.
Yeah, I remember you were explaining that, and then when I
Yeah,
thought
see
about it,
that
like,
one
that
make
actually makes sense.
Yeah, so that one it makes more sense, and that one is a better transition. The only thing that was left off, it was like, oh, is Kaneki gonna be alive after that? We know the other characters would be fine because they already did their job. We just seen how many characters has just died. The only character that's left questioning is Etzo, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah. So going to the ending, I guess we're discussing the ending right now.
Yes.
Okay, so the ending wise, um, look, there was an interview that just recently came out from Ishida that actually explains that he actually had multiple times to end it. Though much like Sorochi, he actually keeps spreading, he actually keeps delaying it. So he's like, I need another 6 months. Crap, I need another 6 months. So and we all, if you have read Sorochi's interview, well, actually not an interview, but more like his note about like why his manga didn't end it where it needed to end it. It's very interesting because it reflects to everybody that works in the industry, whether it's Shonen Jump, Young Jump, anywhere else, maybe. Well, let's just go with Shueisha only. Let's stick with
Yes.
Shueisha's publication. So pretty much a lot of manga has to tell the editor that they're gonna finish the series, and when they do that, they're gonna finish it in 6 months. So to give them a heads up, so everything is pre-planned. So with Ishida, it's the same thing as Sorochi. So if Sorochi, he pretty much botched heavily that at the very least the editor give him a chance to actually have a very conclusive ending by going to a different magazine altogether. So he chose that route and it worked. Well, we haven't seen that new chapter yet, but most likely it will work out for the
It's gonna be
best.
coming
Now
soon.
going back, right. So now we're going back to Ishida's and Tokyo Ghoul. So we recently found out that he did have this amount of delays on how to end the series, or more. Well, he knows how to end it, but at one point he wanted to be an edge lord like hell. Like, yeah, you know what? I should go crazy. I should have 143 to be the ending. Hey, we all know what 143 shows.
Oh yeah, we all
That
we lived that day. I remember.
Yeah, we actually almost got that ending if he was really hell bent to be that edgy. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be so edgy. I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna be so edgy. I'm gonna make the world go crazy. I'm gonna destroy this. He almost thought of doing that, but he didn't want to do that because that's insane. It seems so insane that even the
Also,
editor
the
thought that
feedback
was
too
just
at the
nonsense.
time. The feedback.
Yeah, so insane, so insane. Even though even the editor thought that's just crazy. He was the editor actually lost his shit, He's thinking that was going to be the ending. That's why the editor notes have that next chapter. What was it called? Next chapter.
Final curtains or something
Even
like that.
end credits or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was end credits. End credits is what it was called.
yeah, yeah. He almost thought, "Hey, we're gonna have a tragic ending. Everybody dies. Well, at least the good guys, Touka, Kaneki, Yomo, everyone dies." So that was his initiative. But of course, he didn't want to do that because that just seems that would just seem no purpose of it. Because he believes in the ending where everything has to redeem his character or has to connects to his character. It has to, like get a conclusion that makes sense to the character more so than get the conclusion just for the sake of it, which
Right.
makes sense. And he is right about, like, yeah, even if the ending can be messy on his own rights, like, it's hard to make an ending that's like unmessy or a little bit like, oh, the little nitpick, I can't, you should have done this way. It is hard. I give him that is true. So even that is the case, as long as the character gets that conclusion that needs to be said or addressed, then it's fine. That's how he rolls. So basically, the ending he thought that needed to happen is, it's a happy ending where everybody prevail, everybody gets their happy ending. It has his own mess. It has his own mess in his own rights, but hey, that's the way how he saw it, and that's the way how he felt. He felt that it was the perfect way to end it for his characters, with Kaneki especially. So knowing that, it makes sense with the ending. Like, yeah, it definitely, it's not the best ending. It's
No,
not
it's
the
not.
greatest ending. It's not the greatest ending. But I thought the ending was good for what it has to be addressed under a chapter that's double the length of a normal chapter. And knowing about the whole struggle to end the series, he delayed it twice, I believe. I can see
Twice.
why he has no choice but to end it so mushed in this one chapter.
Oh yeah, I could
Um,
definitely see that too.
so when you consider that, and then you could look at the ending, you can see how, and you can see why. But it doesn't change my opinion, not much, not too much. But at least I know now how the ending got to this point, like the whole, how he has to speed through the other aspect of the story, which is disappointing. You already addressed like how everything gets done quickly, mainly with the V organization thing. That's the real bummer part.
It was,
Um,
yeah, and I
that
mean,
was the real bummer.
because
Huh?
I remember you and I like for months we were like V part 3 is coming.
Yeah, we were saying that so many times, and then okay, never mind. It got taken care of. Yeah. So, but again, I going back to the whole 6 months ahead of time. I guess he, unfortunately for him, he got affected by, which is funny because he was like, there was not an interview, but there was a small snippets from him that actually connects to the same notes that he wrote in the final volume. saying like, around 6 months, I really want to quit I want to quit writing manga, which does address his feeling. Then when he got to the end, he actually didn't want to quit it, but I guess because you got to address the editor that you're going to end the series in 6 months. I guess you could say he could have gone longer. Maybe, I don't know. Hard to say, but yeah. But there was a good sign that he does have a lasting passion for the series. It's just that he decided to end it there. But again, you had to tell the editor that you got to end it in 6 months. And then when you do, you got to stick by it. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, once that's set in stone, there's no coming back from that. There's not like, hey, instead of 6, can I get like an extra month just to tidy things up?
Right. So it's not like, all right, let's see, I got 2 more chapters to go. What should I do? If I'm going to say this is conclusion to everything, I got no choice. I got to kill the V organization right away. All right. Very first thing, you get sliced into 3 faces. Boom. Okay. What I have to do? What I have to do? What I have to do? Yeah. Kaneki gets drowned. And I'll leave that as a cliffhanger to let everybody think we may have died. And then next chapter happens. And then it just becomes the ending. A very ending that has wall of text that has yet to surpass Hunter x Hunter, which is saying too much. Wall of text, but
which has been confirmed to be going back on hiatus. So yeah,
that too. Yay, hiatus. He should have take the mantle, damn it.
But hey, I briefly talk about Hunter x Hunter. Togashi put 20 chapters this year, which is saying a lot.
Yeah. A new record. A whole new record.
That's a hell of an achievement for Togashi in a year. So hey, props.
What a huge development. But yeah, going back to the ending, again, he squeezed a lot of things, and for what he has to do, I thought it was still good. Like, hey, at least he addressed every character that has been around. The funny one was the whole Naki thing. Like, damn, I guess that's why he survived. To get 9 kids. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that I know, like it's crazy to think, like with all the characters and like just the amount of descriptions that we got.
Yeah, but again, it's like you got to squeeze everything in there, and he did. He did so. The only downside is like some of the things that he didn't address. And I know he said that this is something that we have to think for ourselves. I think some of them should be like the one to think for ourselves would be better, would be more associated closely with Takizawa and Corona. But I think we should get a little more info on what exactly happened with Amon and Akira instead of just saying like they're the same as well.
That was the weird one for me because they're especially in Re, because they're big players, and yeah, like we got the one panel of them just like looking off into the distance, but after that, but we didn't get like any context as to like what's going on with them, and
right.
That to me just felt a little weird. I'm like, there's some they are like key players. We should have got something.
Exactly, but yeah. So going and the Eto one was still head scratching because I don't even know if she's alive or not. Is she?
Eto. I know a lot of people are saying Yoshimura, but I think he became the Quinke, right?
Yeah, it was highly suggestive that he has become a Quinque, especially when I believe. Yeah, like he brings out the owl Quinque, but he was saying like in his mind, saying like, and you'll be joining with us too, Kuzo. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, and the way how everybody reacted is like, how he got an owl Quinque? And we remember the last time we saw it was from Arima. But that came from because of a piece of it from Eto. Now, in this case, this is a real deal. This is a full-fledged Quinque. Not a part of it. It's a full-fledged. But how's that possible if Eto is right there? The only conclusion you could get is that he has made an official one out of Yoshimura. And this time, that's really him. So therefore, yeah, he has become a Quinque.
R.I.P. Yoshimura.
Sucks. Yeah.
Literally, R.I.P.
Yeah, I was like, damn. I was actually hoping I was actually really hoping he would survive, and
Get
you
like this
know,
big
but
reunion
he,
with like everyone from Antaker. That would have been
yeah,
crazy.
that would have been sweet. But nope, he has to die.
Nope.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did. He definitely did die. Again, still left with Eto. She did one cool moment, and then we don't know what happened.
She was just
It's like,
like,
so
she's like, hey, the
fuck
organization
you.
member. He's like, fuck off. I was like,
Yeah, it's like
no.
fuck you, and then
It's like,
and then
status report?
yeah, and then she just passed out, all happy that yep, I did my job. I'm so freaking happy now. And again, after that, we don't know what happens.
No,
There
yeah.
was no address. We don't know if she died. We don't know if she's still alive. What is the story? We don't know nothing about it. So that's another bummer too. And
On the
then
bright side, oh, going with what you were saying?
no, you could go.
I was going to say, on the bright side, we got to see Shiraza's sister again.
Yeah. We find out that she's doing well. She's doing well. Shiraz they still die, but still remain dead. But Urie and Shiraz's sister, they been visiting his grave for a while, so it's like that's nice. They got to get they like like it's like hey, I'm gonna be your brother now from this day forward. That's the way I see it. But it was still nice. It was I like the fact they addressed that rather than ignore that. If they ignored that, I'm like, oh, so what happened to her?
Yeah. I would have been like,
That would have been a
plot point number 2.
like, yeah. I'm like, hello, what happened to her? Don't you remember? Use all your money.
Yeah, so I like that Ishida actually did remember that.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really
Thankfully.
good.
Um yeah, you see a lot of characters just get the endings. Every single character is like
Even
no the main
Shinohara,
guy.
like the dude wakes up and wow, heartstrings when Suzuya was like breaking down. Damn.
Yeah. I was, it's funny because I was wondering myself for a moment. I'm like, he's been not dead. He's just been in a forever coma. I was like, I'm questioning, like, what are they gonna do with him? It's like, why is he still around? So that was the point right there. That was
Mhm.
the reason why he was still around. But I gotta say, it was pretty damn heartwarming, especially with Shirazu. Suzuya was like, he has been going through a lot of things on his own, and he finally develops a lot of things on his own. And so it's like his reward is to have him back alive. So I thought that was really heartwarming, and it was really damn. It was really nice. It was like, damn, I was like, it's like a great payoff. Like, oh man, really, really went through so much hell, and he finally got the reward he deserved. Yeah, maybe if Suzuya really did kill Touka and all that stuff, I would be pissed.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, why
I
do you
would have been
get
like,
this reward?
what?
Like bullshit. You don't deserve this.
No.
So yeah, so yeah. Thankfully, none of the bad stuff did happen. So it was like, yeah, he deserved this.
Naki and Misa are officially a thing, and they have 9 kids. That to me, I'm
Kids.
like, like Naki put in some work. Holy shit!
Put it to work. Let's be generous. Oh my god. Yeah, he really went. I mean, he was curious not the OVA. Omaki, he was curious about sex. So voila.
9
You
kids?
got your
No
thing.
shit. That's like 3 less than Cheaper by the Dozen. God.
Well, look at this way. If they make a sequel like The Next Generation, we already got 9 kids filled. We already got new 9 characters. So there you
That's
go.
true.
9 new characters filled in already, guys. We're good. See, look at that. Naruto, Boruto, whatever. They got like 9 characters. You could just fill up with 9 characters with Naki himself alone.
I know.
So we're good. We're good.
So crazy that thing. I'm like, wow. Of all the characters to get out a lot of
Yeah.
kids, it's Naki.
Yep.
Good.
The other puzzling one for a lot of people, which was funny to me, and it's actually more funnier later on for me. But I'll tell you the story soon. But another one that puzzled a lot of people was this guy, Koiwa. He didn't die. He got neck stabbed,
Yeah, I
sure, but he
know.
didn't die. He
The
didn't die.
dude got slit in the throat.
Yeah, he didn't die though. So he's good. So that part is funny. Now, what's funnier to me is that right after that chapter ended, I'm just like, you know what? I was like, well, Tokyo Ghoul has ended. Sad to see it to go. Sad to watch anime. All of a sudden, I'm seeing more anime and then more news story that relates to neck stabbing, and they survive. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me this is not that far fetched to believe that a person that gets neck stabbed will actually live. And it turns out it's not that far fetched, but it still takes a little out of what's that word I'm looking for? Not out of imagination. What's that word I'm looking for?
I,
Suspense disbelief. I guess that's a word. I hope.
Hold on.
Suspense.
Suspension of disbelief. There we go. I think that's what it's called.
Hey, a suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
It takes a little of that still to believe that Kuwaiwa will survive from a neck stab. That's the only defense I can say. But you can survive from a neck stab. One anime shows me that. The news story shows me that. I'm like, huh. So this is why people slit the enemy's throat, because it's a guaranteed death. They don't go for the stab. There's a reason why now. So there you go. Here's your history. Here's your story. Here's your biology class lesson. I don't know. Take it or leave it. It's rather funny that all this time that you can survive a neck stab. Still, suspension of disbelief. You have to throw in there to believe that Koiwa has survived from that. But hey, maybe because his clan is full of badassery. I don't know.
No, you're right.
So that's still perplexing, even if it is true that you could survive it. But whatever, I'll take it. Just it's the ending, all right. It doesn't matter anymore when you at the end.
All right.
Then you got the real main event, which is the main character, the main ghoul, the main original Teku members, starting with Yomo with a pigtail.
Well, before that, we had Ayato and Hinami just like walking and like
Yes.
Hide's walking in. The second these two showed up, I'm just like, oh, he's not even hiding it.
No, he's not even hiding anymore. He can't even do it. He can't even deny it.
No, like Hide's there. He's like, hey, what's up, Hide? He's like, nothing, just going over to his place, and then I love Hinami because she's just like he wants to visit his niece.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
That and the fact that she often asks Ayato to come shopping with her. I'm just like,
Yep.
often. How
Often, huh? Yep. That's happening.
It's like, well, they're not a. I'm like, no, that's already saying that they're together without even saying it.
Yeah. I mean,
Ayato Hinami canon.
she's even teasing him too. He's like, oh, come on, quit that.
Yeah.
because beforehand it was like, she was like a learner and he was a teacher. Now it's like way more friendlier. Not even. So
I know.
yeah, you get the idea. It's like, oh, that's a nice way to put it. And then you see Yomo with pigtails. Yay!
I know.
Very nice, a very cute kid. And it's fun, and it's cool in the volume version. They brought back that bird. I forgot his name, but remember the bird that had a bad name with a real bad name. I forgot the bird name. Stupid.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, then in the volume version, he should have brought that back. I was like, oh, that's a cool Easter egg. No pun intended, I guess. That's cool, but yeah, he's still alive, and the kid was playing with it for a bit. I think it was like that. I thought that was a really nice insert right there. And then you find out Kaneki did not die. He's alive with a scar, a strange scar, but yeah, he's
The badass
still alive.
too.
Yeah, he's still alive, and it's funny because the way how it ends kind of feels like an open gate for part three. Now, again, if it doesn't happen, then that's fine. The way how it ends, the way how it ends is good enough. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, you could address more, but maybe the novel. We could still cross our finger for novels, but we'll see what happens in the future. But it does have a very small opening for part three because one, Dragon is still technically around,
Yeah,
but
that's
now
something
they're
they're gonna
just shooting out
address.
orphans. Yeah, the dragon orphans, I think they call them that. Now they shoots them out occasionally. So that's a new problem. Another new problem is that everybody's still not at peace, but that's just the way how life is.
Yeah.
And starting with this guy, he pretty much became the new villain of everyone. And he not only formed Kagaja, but he pretty much had four Kunkai. It's like, holy shit, this guy's menacing now. Um, Kind of sad because if you play Tokyo Ghoul Jail, it's kind of pretty disheartening to see how much falling he has gotten. But well, Tokyo Ghoul.
Mhm.
So, but still, you got a new villain right there. You got boom, new villain, boom, new problems, and the thing that left off is with Hide asking Kaneki, or I think it's Kaneki asking himself. I'm trying to remember. Actually, I should look at the ending quickly. All I remember the question was asked, is this the right path he decided? Is this the right path for Kaneki? Was this the right choice? And, for better or worse, it is a choice that he made, and it's a choice he's going to stick by. He's not going to think anything otherwise. He's not going to say, I could have done that better. He's not going to think that. He's just going to go with the flow because that's how life is. And then Hide will and agrees to that, and he will be back him up all the way to the end. And we got a nice sunset shot, and then ends from with a small coffee on the table, and that's how it
Mhm.
ends.
I know it
So
was.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So like again, with all the time struggle that he have, knowing that now, seeing the ending as it is, it's still good to me. It could have been better because some parts didn't get addressed, and of course the whole thing has to rush to the end. Everything with Kaneki involved was really settled right. When in terms of the other characters going against the organization, that was settled very fast. But again, it's unfortunate because the fact he had a time limit. Maybe he could have stretched it more. It's possible he could have stretched it more. It's possible he could have told more story out of it. Now, if he gets another chance like a novel or even part three, then that will fix a lot of things. But until then, right now, it's just unfortunate that he has to end it this fast. But again, you have a time limit, you have a pre-planned schedule to do what you need to do. And he did it twice. He delayed it twice from what he said. He almost ended he almost ended very tragic, but he didn't want to do that because he didn't
Nope.
felt like it didn't make sense to the character. He only wanted to
And
do
he
that
already
if he
did
wanted to
that
be
once with
super
part
edgy.
one.
Right. But like he said in the interview, part one was all about like the struggles and all the tragedy. Part two is the rising up from it, which makes sense. It does makes a lot of
Yeah, it
sense.
definitely makes sense.
So yeah, it could have been worse, guys. But yeah, I still like the ending because it addressed a lot of characters. It didn't address everybody. It still leave off some mystery one. And again, to path to it, it was done quickly, but again, time constraint. But
I would
again, I
definitely
still like the.
say. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I still like the ending, and yeah, that's it.
No, like but yeah, I was gonna say that out of all the endings we've gotten so far, whether it's Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tale, this is by far the best one. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a good ending for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely better than the other two that you just mentioned.
Yeah, right.
That cannot be any more true.
I
Because
know, like,
those
because
two
some people are like,
endings that
oh, it's like, oh, it got rushed. I'm like, even in a rushed format, is she was still able to come up with something good? So, hey,
yeah, I mean, like you look at I said beach. You look at bleach problems, like the whole idea, like oh, he take care of the final boss. It's like doesn't really feel that impactful.
no, it
Hell,
doesn't.
Cats don't even feel impactful. Bleach, I keep saying bleach. Ichigo. didn't feel like a main character, the protagonist. He just feels like another character that just settles the deal, and that's it. I guess the problem lies in the character. And see, at the very least, Kaneki got all the characters done, and his character pretty much concluded it needed to be. So
Yeah.
it, yeah,
No,
like there's no more. Hmm?
no, I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, and like, especially if you look at like Kaneki from like Volume 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, going all the way to this, it's like he goes through a lot, and you see a substantial change, even with the ending.
Right. The problem with the other endings is like they didn't really finish off the main protagonist with a very conclusive ending. Yeah, I mean Naruto has that, but there's a lot of other things that's a real problem with Naruto, especially with the final chapter being like a huge advertisement for the next series, which ended up being true. I'm
Yeah,
not sure that's insulting or not, but yeah, that really
that's
happened.
really what
Bleach
ended up
feels
being.
like there's yeah, Bleach feels like you just watch a slice of life of every other different character that has no protagonist, and voila, they end it. Like again, I don't even know what's the lesson be told for Michiko. There is no lesson. Aizen's the one that made a lesson, which is kind of weird
Ironic.
because he's a villain. He's a
Yeah,
damn
right.
villain. A cool looking one, sure, but again, he's a damn villain. They give a lesson to the whole entire story. I don't know why. It made more sense with Kaneki to be the one because this is a story that we've been following. It's a story he's been telling, and it was great to see how it all comes to the conclusion for him and for the rest of the cast. It's just that some of the other cast didn't get the mention of like what they're going to do now. Amon, Akira, whatever happened to Eto, stuff like that. Those are the things that still left out like, huh, what happened to them though? The other characters, all other characters, it makes sense for them to go to that direction and so on. But if it makes part three, well, what are you gonna do with Kaneki? Are you gonna do anything with Kaneki? The question remains unknown. Again, let alone the fact that we don't even know part two could even happen. Yes, I know Ishida did say he don't see himself to do it. He seems it seems less likely that he's gonna do a third part, but you never know. Anybody change their mind. Anybody always have second thoughts of their career, second thoughts on their life. Everybody changes, so you never know with anything.
Yeah, like he's saying that right now, but like come like a given point in time, like maybe 2 or 3 years, and he's like, "Hey, I got to start for part three," and here's what it is. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be as long as part two or part one. It could probably just be
No,
like
no, it doesn't.
it could just be like maybe like I don't know 7 volumes or something, and then that's it.
Yeah, doesn't have to be that long. Oh, that is a long journey. Like-
I mean, yeah, like and the
Amazing.
foundation is there for a part three if you really wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I
again,
would
if you
even
want, I like,
say I would even say you don't probably even need to have Kaneki as the main character. But what if instead of
not essentially, no.
yeah, like instead of Kaneki, say it's his daughter, which we actually do get a name, and it's Ichika.
Yeah, which is kind of funny when we consider we were talking about Bleach earlier, but yeah.
That's true. Holy shit, I didn't even think about that.
It's like, oh yeah, funny because we just talked about Bleach earlier.
Yeah, that's wow.
Hmm. Conspiracy? No.
I think not.
Oh, okay.
Half ghoul, half
Yeah.
human who can eat apples.
I mean, you can still do it, Kaneki. Just figure out what can you do with it without resorting back to this concluded story. I mean, again, it all depends on them, I guess. Like
Mhm.
again, if you want to go with the new generation, the new kids, well, you already got 9 characters, starting with the Naki family, so you're good with that
I
start.
know.
9 kids already, yay! That was quick. We got 9 characters. Damn, fastest growth ever. Well, we'll see what happens in the future.
I know. Like Ishida right now, like it's already been like because the manga ended back in July, so there's been a pretty good substantial amount of time since the manga's ended. But could Ishida come back to do another manga? Not necessarily a manga just on Tokyo Ghoul, but like a new series in general. It's possible. Like even now, I know he's like kind of getting sort of back up to speed with like pictures he does on Twitter, which which are really nice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But and
Man,
coming,
every time I see his art, it makes me miss the series so much more. I'm like,
I
oh damn, I
know.
forgot how art looks so good. Oh, why are you doing this? Make a novel. Do a novel. Well, the Zaki 2 is gonna come out, so that should be fun to look at. Ooh, all these profiles of his artwork.
That's true.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
no. Yeah. So, but do go on though.
For the moment, the man let him get some rest. I
Right.
let him take some time off. If he does what Kishi's doing right now, be like, "Hey, I got a new series," and it's like 4 years later. It's like, Ishida, where like it's like you made this
Tokyo Ghoul,
announcement.
Kaneki's next generation. Tokyo Ghoul, next generation. I hope he doesn't write that right because it sounds so cheesy.
I
Next
know.
generation. Come on, how you got a next generation Tokyo Ghoul? I
That's a
mean, it was
lot.
already baffling saying Boruto. Naruto is next generation. Why not just say Boruto and end it
That's
with
all
that?
you need to say.
Yeah, just say Boruto. That's it. No Boruto, Naruto, next generation. That is so marketing value. Oh, why should I care about Boruto? Excuse me, is Naruto related? Oh, okay, now I care.
What's happening with Fairy Tail. 100-year quest. That's all you need.
Yeah, see, they see that's an example of like, okay, we technically concluded characters already, so why start with the same characters? Well, you could expand more. So if Ishida decided to do part 3 and use Kaneki, there is a chance to expand more. You don't need to retrack back to already that's already concluded with the first time around. You could always expand it more, but like, okay, like maybe you could make a storyline out of like Kaneki's trying to protect his family, but he's having a hard time. So not only to protect the family, but protect everybody in Tokyo with the whole situation with the Dragon Orphan and the new villain they had on the horizon. So that's something you could expand on. That's what Fairy Tail 100-year quest is doing right now. It's like we're not gonna retrack back to the whole Zero thing. We already done that. That's the old story. Now we're focusing on the whole quest itself. Like, hey, look, new journey, new mission. Let's take that.
Hmm.
So
And
you don't
it's
need to extend. Hmm?
no, I was thinking like, and it's not something that's like, oh, it was just pulled out of left field. The 100-year quest has been an establishment since the beginning. So
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, hell, if you do part 3, you could try to find a way. Like, oh, we could start connecting the dots with Germany because that was another place that told that the whole ghoul situation was taking place as well.
yeah,
Germany and China, like they briefly mentioned China, but definitely that. And plus, it could find a way to try to connect the dot with the whole underground thing, which unfortunately was left out without answers. The
true.
underground city, that is. So again, he kind of technically leave a gap. And if he did that, and then he does return it, and then you know what, the whole story can actually feel complete for once. I mean, character wise, it's complete, but story, I mean, it's more or less complete. But there's some lore aspect that a lot of fans, excuse me, wanted to see, to understand, wanted to learn more about it. And it's unfortunate that he has to end it so shortly and so quickly. Again, the whole editor thing, but it's a shame that we didn't get some of the lore answer, especially the underground city, the original One-Eyed King. What's the whole thing about? What's the whole what's the answer? But we didn't get that.
No,
So if we get part 3, it could fix a lot of things. Hell, if we get a novel, it fixes a lot of things. But we have to wait and see.
we definitely do have to wait and see what's going to happen. And it's like, well, yeah. So there's definitely still a lot you could do, but again, time will be the teller of that. We just gotta wait and see what happens. I know I said this in the beginning of the podcast, but it's crazy to think that it's over. Like the story of
Yeah,
Tokyo Ghoul is over.
after I know. It's like it's not like it hasn't been a year, but it sure feels that way.
Sure does.
It feels like it's been a year, and it feels like It feels like I really missed the series way more than I thought.
Right? I mean,
Me,
I still
yeah.
remember getting into it, like, and it's funny because it was right around the time when Naruto ended, and I was just trying to find other series to read, and Tokyo Ghoul was like just one of those series that just kind of came. I'm like, I'll check it out, just see what it is, and wow, I got hooked, like, and I stuck with it for so long because of how good it was.
I remember it took me probably a year later. No, not really. Like a few more months because I remember Naruto ended. Then I just decided to watch other series, read other series. It took me a while to start reading Tokyo Ghoul, but I remember Tokyo Ghoul Re was still young. It was like in chapter 20. And I remember I was like so hyped up because everybody was hyping up over Tumblr, over the forums, over the other community. And then I started to read it and I was like, damn, this manga is so damn good. It was like I binge read. Took me 2 days only. But I remember doing a live reaction over the forums. Like I was just going crazy. And I remember I just lost my shit when Kaneki died. Like, what the you
I
know?
know.
I'm like, "What can't believe I'm like, I can't believe Kaneki just died. What the hell, man?"
It was like
And I'm like
Sasaki Heise. Like, who's this guy? Who's this
I
Kaneki
was
man?
like, "This is new character." It's like, oh, okay, so I guess the every new story of Tokyo Ghoul, that means we get a new character. That's fine. That's like some horror movie style. That's fine. But damn, that means Sasuke is doomed to die too. So then I read to the chapter 8, and I remember just reacting and saying like, "He's alive,
I know.
he's alive." I'm like, praise the sun, he's alive.
The
But yeah, those were those were some very fun times. Um, I started reviewing like 2 years ago, I believe. I remember I started reviewing around the time when Arima versus Kaneki was happening. Actually, I was reviewing much before, but it was under a podcast style. But when I started reviewing individually, it was around Arima versus Kaneki. Those were the great days. Those were my first days of reviewing, and I still haven't forgotten how much fun it was to talk about Tokyo Ghoul because how engaging the story, the characters were, and looking back now, it's like, damn, getting the volumes doesn't help to remind me how much fun, how much great the series was. So yeah, I definitely missed the series. I really would like to see a third part, even if I don't get a third part. Novel would be nice. Even if I don't get a novel, all I just want is Ishida's work to come again. Because not only his art style is really damn good, but he got a lot of good ideas going through, whether it's for the characters, for the story. All I just wanted to have is a new work done by Ishida. If he doesn't come back to the manga industry, then I guess that's it's not I guess. It is fine. It just be a shame, but let's not be selfish. It would be sad that he may never come back to manga, but at least we could cherish his work Tokyo Ghoul for the rest of time. But if he does come back with a new work, whatever it is, then it will be awesome for all of us.
Oh
But
yeah.
in due time, we will know. In due time,
And again, it's Ashida is just like one of those writers where he will take like the smallest things and he will make it relevant. Like, and Tokyo Ghoul has been like a great example of that because again, Forta, dude showed up like in part one without us even realizing it. It's like,
that part was crazy when I saw him the first time in Re. I was like, wait a minute, isn't that guy from college? And it was. Holy shit! So he's here, huh? Yeah, small world. And then it's never batted an eye that he will be the main villain. So even more crazier shit.
I still can't get over the drawing from chapter one of like what Kaneki thinks the goal looks like. I'm like,
I
Only my
know that part is still crazy too. I was like, wow, the drawing that he did ends up becoming the exact same design. That's just crazy.
I know. Like again, that's the kind of level that Ishida does, where it's like he will just take something small and that it'll be like relevant like later on down the road, and you're just like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
that that happened.
Oh, that just happened.
Mm-hmm. I think it's over though. Damn, it's been quite a journey. I mean, yeah, the podcast series for Tokyo Ghoul have only been it's only been going for a year, but hey, better late than never, and it's been fun. It's been a real fun doing these.
Oh, definitely fun. Just kidding me?
Mhm.
I was so happy when you announced that you was doing a podcast for Tokyo Ghoul base. I was like, really?
Yeah,
I would like to join that one. I would definitely like to join that. I mean, like, there are times I could have just say, like, well, I can't join this one. You could just go without me or whatever, like that. But I always make the effort to say, like, oh, he's gonna plan it today. He's gonna plan it tomorrow. Yes, we're gonna do it. Oh, we're
yeah,
gonna do this podcast. Like, I get so hyped up. If it were to be like some other series, well, not naming it, but it would be like, I feel like I'm gonna go more off the tangent or more like a rant. Kind of scared to do that. I will make too many enemy. I will make too many sworn enemy. But seriously, when I heard that he was when I heard that Lucky Chi was gonna do the podcast based on Tokyo Ghoul, I was like so hyped up to even talk about it. And even if it is just us two, I still had a lot of fun talking about the series, talking about different opinions, different outlook, all the other great stuff. So even though the manga has ended, and we did come late for this type of podcast, to make it a discussion every chapter. And sometimes we struggle with time schedule because of life and everything else. I still had a great time. So
I,
I thank you for making this podcast happen.
thanks. I mean, it's kind of funny just hearing that because I remember like this was the because I did the Tokyo Ghoul podcast initially just like as like adding something new to the channel, and I just kind of thought, hey, let me. What's the perfect way to debut the podcast for Lucky Chi? And I just hey, let me just start with Tokyo Ghoul, and I never thought that I would be continuing it for like so long. It's crazy to think what it is.
Yeah. You know what they say, when you experience it, it's like you start to adapt it more and more, and then you just become very comfortable with it. And then you just like you get in the zone, I guess you could say. So
That's all
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's everybody's first time and goes. It's like, oh, it's a little shaky. My voice wasn't perfect enough, or something like that. But then when you get used to it, it's like you go with the flow. You feel very relaxed, and it just gets better.
it does.
So yeah, but yeah, I was definitely was happy to be part of this. So thank you.
No. And honestly, I don't think the podcast would have been as exciting without having you on board because every week, every time we did the podcast, like it was just so exciting just to talk about the series and just talk about potentials and characters and outcomes.
Right, exactly. We can only hope for a third part so we could do this again.
Right? Which I should say something. This
Mhm.
isn't the final Tokyo. This isn't the final Tokyo podcast, and I know as soon as I say people are going to be like, "Wait, what?" We
Was
still got
part three
the
announced before us? No. Was it leak?
It's like, wait, what? It's like, yes, as of right now, there is a Tokyo Ghoul Part 3. It's like, oh no, they're gonna come back. Well, here's the thing.
Praise the
Movies.
sun.
We got the movies. So while this may be the final podcast for the Tokyo Ghoul manga, the movies are another story. And the
We also
movie
have the anime.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the anime.
We have the anime. I mean, yeah. Do you
Do I
really
want
want
to
us
do
to
a
talk about
podcast?
the anime?
Yeah, that's the thing.
uh, I rather quit.
I feel like if we do a podcast on the anime, you and me would just be ranting the whole time for at least a
I
good
know,
two or
right?
3 hours.
Well, this episode sucked. Why? Because the animation was poor, the art style was awful, the direction was terrible, the pacing was all over the place, yada yada yada. Same old story for every episode of the podcast. So if you come in for redundancy, then look no further than the Tokyo Ghoul podcast. Thank you, season 2. Screw yourself. So I don't know. Do you really want to do that?
Well, it'd be entertaining, sure, but
There's more doses, yes.
also just trying to wonder how much of my vocals will go away just from me just talking about the anime, just like, yeah, that
We're
thing.
going to need a lot of water bottles.
Which is why I'm deciding, let's just talk about the movies. And it makes sense to talk about the movies because movie 2 is coming out for the summer. That just got announced.
Yay! The real adaptation, everyone.
I know.
Real adaptation.
When people say, "Oh, you will never get a good adaptation of Tokyo Ghoul," I'm like, "Look at the movies," and I never thought I would say that.
This is what happens when you get adapted by Studio Period, and then you get a live action. It's like, oh man, my most anticipated is the live action now. I mean, look, I'm not hating on live action. It's cool if they get it, and if it's even cooler if it's actually good. Because sometimes live action is really hard to get a good. You could ask Attack on Titan for reasons to establish my. Yeah, you can look at that and you see why. So with Tokyo Ghoul, the live action adaptation is actually good. Not only good, but it's actually pretty okay. Season 1, despite it goes fast, despite it skips parts, it never really goes that bad or never really takes you off like where is the story going to. You don't have no idea where we're heading to. You have no idea what is happening because that's what Tokyo Ghoul anime has been doing for the past every episode. So okay, maybe not the first season. First season you kind of get the gist of it more or less. Second season, that's where you have no idea anymore.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, season 2 is just awful mess. But going back to season 1, the very first season 1 of the very first Tokyo Ghoul, even though it goes fast, yes, they skip a lot of things. And yes, it's not the best adaptation that's based on the manga. Especially if some of the characters has to be downgraded in order for a lot of fans to understand in a more shonen based level. Still, it has its charm. It has its own coolness, and for what it does, it's good. It's good. The art style is different, but what they have to use and some of the animation work is really good on its own rights. So that's fine. Rude, the problem is, well, it went to the original story with a lot of mess that unfortunately Ishida cannot save because, well, they had to take off the script because reasons unknown. Then the live adaptation, the live action one. Yes, of course, it's not going to tell the entire story in a very lengthy way of a chapter because, it's a movie. You already got 2 hours, or yeah, you could do 3 hours, but do you really want to sit down and watch a 3-hour movie? Yeah, I know. Lord of the Ring happened, Titanic happened, but this is a different era. And not only that, but this is like adaptation based on the manga, a popular manga that is. You can't really ask too much out of them, and we gotta care about everybody's attentions. The mainstream audience, you gotta care about them. You can't be just saying like, "Oh, let me just do it for the fans and only for the fans." And yeah, even if you do get I got everything what I needed. Still, the pacing will be slow, and it will bore me out. And I'm a fan of the series, so it will actually bore me out if you try to make a 3 hours and 30 minutes movie just to get everything that happens. Yeah, so it's like trying to adapt the book. We're gonna have 5 movies just to get one book done. So yeah, again, you look at Harry Potter. Yeah, the book is not. Yeah, the book has more content and stuff like that. But not a lot of people complain about the movies. Not a lot. I mean, maybe hardcore book enthusiasts. I don't know. I can't really say, to be honest. But I wasn't upset. I was actually pretty thrilled about the movies. I was like, oh, this movie is really good. You know. So with Tokyo Ghoul, in a sense, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, the live action is actually pretty neat. I liked it. Yeah. So in that regard, with season not season two, movie two, I don't know what's going to take place. I don't know what's going to showcase. Where the show Ogiri. There's a good chance, maybe, but I do have more faith for this one because not only it seems like they're taking more time to work on the movie, which means the effects will be better or the effects will be good. Well, it most likely will be better than the first one. Even the effects in the first one was good. It was not like really out of place. Usually you could
No, it wasn't.
easily tell out of place. Kind of like the first live action of Death Note. Now, while Death Note live action, the Japanese one, were actually good, the only downside I could really easily say was real 3D animation being very, very standout. It
He
was like, oh
was.
man,
He was a
it
standout.
looks pretty cheap. It looks pretty cheap. So yeah, but with Tokyo Ghoul, I didn't feel that cheap. It felt like it was perfect enough or good enough in terms of budget not to look so awkward. So yeah, there's a lot of good benefits out of that. What do you think of the movie two? Are you how much you looking forward to it? And what do you think it's gonna cover?
I'm really looking forward to movie two. I know for sure they said that they're gonna cover the Gourmet arc, which is pretty obvious. But
Yeah, that's the likely one.
get the feeling they're gonna cover another arc though.
I
Algiri.
think that,
Oh, go on.
no, you could go.
I think they could probably cover two arcs for the next movie. Algiri could show up in the second one, and I would have nothing against that. Actually, I really wouldn't. But I feel like Algiri as a whole is like a movie story in and of itself. I think you could really just do a whole movie on Algiri. That's just my take on it. I mean, hey, if you really wanted to, you could do Algiri and you could do the lab arc, which I think is immediately right after that. So
Well, it's not. Well, it was 6 months later.
yeah,
I mean, if anything, honestly, I think doing a gourmet and the Orgiri arc in one movie is actually more of a ideal than say
doing Algiri
Orgiri
and the lab
and
arc.
the lab one.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I feel like it will. If they were to plan a third movie, it would be more fitting if you just have the gourmet and the Orgiri in the second movie. So that way, with the cliffhanger, we'll have everybody very intrigued to see what the hell is going to happen with Kaneki and the rest of the gang for the third movie, especially when they are officially separated. Because in the first one, you don't get that sense. It's like, oh, okay, they learn the harsh truth and stuff like that, but at least they're together. So
yeah.
with the second movie, if you have them separated, it's like, damn, what's going to happen with them? It's kind of like the
Well,
early days of Walking Dead when it's like separation happened. Oh man, what the hell's going to happen with those characters now? Kind of that feel. But yeah,
mhm. Yeah, because like especially yeah, and that actually makes sense now too. Because if say the second movie does end with like Kaneki walking away after the whole Algiri stuff, will leave a lot of curiosity as to like, okay, where do we go from here? Unless I think you would tackle the last two arcs, part one.
the third movie can tackle the last two arcs. Yeah,
Yeah, which would be perfect, honestly.
yeah, three movies, trilogy, boom, ending.
Mhm. That's all you need.
That would be crazy. Oh, we're gonna end it right here. Kaneki, 100% dead. Not 100% not dead, and become Sasuke. No, this version, 100% dead. kind of like the kind of like the original live action for Death Note. They had L beat Kira, and then L dies still. So everyone died. Well, except for I was gonna say Mika. So except for Mika, yeah, Mika, right? What's her name?
I think it was Misa, right? I think it was Misa.
Misa. I
Was
think it's
Misa?
Misa. I want to say Misa. It should be Misa. I hope it's Misa.
Let me.
Yeah, let's go
I'm
with
looking.
Misa. Huh? Yeah, you do. Such- but yeah, in the live action version of Death Note, everyone loses except for Misa. We'll go with that for now. She lost her memory, and that was the end of the story. And then they made a new live action that after years later, and this time with Nier. But that's another subject. The point is, maybe Death though.
It is Misa.
Maybe Tokyo Ghoul. Oh, okay. So with Tokyo Ghoul, maybe Kaneki will die in his own movie and die in the third part. 100% death. Maybe. We don't know.
We don't know, but it is gonna be something to look forward to.
Oh yeah. But the fact that the second movie is happening, after the series has ended, it seems like a good sign in terms of like the how much the franchise is still being cared of. Instead
Mhm.
of like, well, if ended, bye bye, make a new work, or bye bye, next work, we don't care about you anymore. That's but yeah, of course, that's not true. Tokyo Ghoul is a popular series. Is a really a good, well name established in the East and the West even. Does that mean
Once,
part two will
yeah.
happen? Let's not get carried away. Yeah, let's not carried away with the idea part three is officially going to happen or something. But we'll see what happens. Maybe whatever happens with Zaki too. Maybe there'll be some formal announcement. Maybe we get new novels. Maybe there'll be new something else. I don't know. Anything is possible. I mean, yeah, I know Naruto is like a bigger, popular one. But like you take Naruto for example, it's like, oh, okay, we'll do Boruto. But not only Boruto, they get novels that's based on Naruto characters, Naruto's generations. So that's something that's like, oh, that's cool. I mean, Bleach finally finished the novel series. I mean, I wish there were more, but hey, you can't win every time. But they finished the novel series. So that means a lot of series can continue well over the end run. It's just a matter of your popularity. And Tokyo Ghoul is definitely among one of them that they will have a good chance to continue on with novels, third part, whatever it may be. Hmm?
That no, that and also a video game is coming, which looks really good. I want to say that.
Yeah, that too. So it's like, yeah, again, the series ended, but it's not brushed aside like afterthought. It's not like a lot of series that I read as like, oh, afterthought, and they're not even canceled. They're just done. Like, oh, we're done completely. You're not gonna care about me? Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Bye.
Right?
So yeah. Yeah. So anything is possible. Just wait and see. That's all I got. Wait
Yep.
and see.
That's all. That's actually all I can say is just wait and see. And I know some people are probably going to ask, but are Sparta and I going to be doing another podcast for another manga series? I've been thinking. I've been thinking about a couple series, but I don't want to make any announcements just yet because mysterious
Not
wait.
ready, I assume. Oh, okay. I thought you're just not ready yet. I was like, well, it makes sense because it was a little struggle to try to keep it scheduled for Tokyo Ghoul. Not because like, oh, this chapter was boring. Do we really gotta talk about this? It's
No,
more like, oh man, my life doing this and that. I mean, it's not like a bad one, but it's just a personal thing that we all have.
yeah, I, that just happens. Like
Hmm.
as good as it is to do the podcast, there are going to be those points that kind of do interfere, and that's not to say it's a bad thing. It just happens. So
Right.
other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Unless we've got anything else that we may have missed talking about. So I do feel like we
I
covered.
think we got everything.
Yeah.
I think we got everything covered. All we have to do is just wait and see what happens after a couple of months. Like I said, we still get new interviews. We still get new interviews and new insight of Ishida's mindset right now. Like everything seems to be consistent rather than contradicting, like how some other mangaka seems to be doing before. I'm not gonna name, but I think I think Lucky Chi should know who I'm referring to. But
Yeah.
yeah, but with Ishida, there are more interviews and more insights of his thoughts. Again, we the recent interview was the whole he he had to delay the ending twice. And he first time he thought about want to be an ultimate edgelord by killing everybody off into the darkest ending yet. He didn't do that though. almost.
Those
So,
replies, though. Those replies.
yeah. Oh man, if he did went that way, I could not imagine how much of a backlash he would have received
And
in there.
I love how the following chapter just like acknowledged all that.
Yeah. See. So yeah. No, even if there's no new Tokyo Ghoul at the moment, in terms of manga or the original source brought to you by Ishida, there's always something new out of there from interview, from his note, from his Twitter post, whatever it is. It's always something out there. So just keep your eye on them, and hopefully, maybe we'll just get a new work, new sequel, whatever it happens. But we can only hope. We can only hope.
We can only hope, guys. And it's just a matter of patience. Just gotta wait and see what happens. And who knows? Maybe Ishida could be another one of these mangakas that and are having a resurgence. Yeah. Aside from that, that is pretty much it. Sparta, it was really great having you on board, not just for this final Tokyo podcast, for like all the other ones we've did. Like, again, the fact that we started last year and just bringing it up to this point, it really means a lot.
Thank you. I really appreciate that comment. I appreciate that you have been inviting me to join you with the podcast, whether it's Tokyo Ghoul, One Piece, or any other different series. I'm always happy to be part of it because it was always great to discuss with you. It's always to share our opinions. It's always to share our outlook on certain moments, certain scenes, certain a lot of things. It's always great to have somebody other than yourself to talk about things. So I'm really happy to be part of this last episode of Tokyo Ghoul for now, at least. But I really am glad to be part of the podcast. So I thank you for inviting me multiple times.
Oh, thanks, man. And wow. Um, yeah.
Well, time to close it.
Yep. Time to close the door on the Tokyo Ghoul manga. And on Ishida. Just for the moment.
For the moment, for now.
Later, guys.